There are a few things I want to get into when talking about the 2025 XDiavel, and to do that we have to go back in time, about 40 years to 1985. That is when Yamaha introduced their VMAX, which is a very interesting, very cool bike, maybe even an iconic bike. That word gets thrown around easily, but it definitely applies in this case, I think. Because you see, before the VMAX, the Japanese tried and failed to grab a part of the US market by creating their own versions of the famous Harley-Davidson chopper. Trouble is, it's not going to matter how good a Rebel, Vulcan, Intruder or a Royal Star is. I mean, you're gonna get the Harley, right? You want the real thing. But then something wonderful happened. Yamaha thought, this isn't working, let's try something else. Let's create something different, something wildly different. And what they came up with wasn't a sports bike, it wasn't a tourer, it wasn't a chopper, it was something new. And you could best describe this thing as a power cruiser, the emphasis being on power. Because this creation had a 70-degree 1200cc V4 engine fed by no less than 4 Mikuni carburetors, resulting in give or take 145 horsepower. Now, think about this for a second. 145 horsepower with 1985 brake, suspension and tire technology. To say that this thing was exciting in those times is probably an understatement. But much more importantly, it had achieved something that no Japanese cruiser had achieved before. It was completely mad and it was cool as hell. Now, sadly, Yamaha doesn't make it anymore, but the category they have created is still going strong in 2025 with the similarly insane 2025 Ducati XDiavel. When I was first asked to try this bike, I actually wasn't all that eager to try it because the huge tire, the forward controls, the crazy long wheelbase, the front fork that points off somewhere into the distance, those are traits that are not usually telling me that it's going to have great handling. During the first 30 minutes or so riding it, those suspicions were actually mostly proven correct. Now, thankfully, I had this bike longer than 30 minutes this time. I could actually ride it for a few days. And by the second day, after spending some more time on it, something clicked for me. And as crazy as it may sound, I have a little video game called Wipeout to thank for that. The 1997 Sony PlayStation Wipeout, in which you pilot like an anti-gravity racecraft around tracks with very steep angled banks. And to make your way through those bends correctly, you had to roll your craft and choose your trajectory wisely. And it's basically the same thing with the Diavel, because the rear wheel is so big, so wide, that it creates the same kind of half-pipe effect on the road. So if you see a corner coming up, you have to plan how you want to navigate it and then make smooth, flowing lines. And once you wrap your head around riding the Diavel, like as if you're in Wipeout, that's when the thing clicks, that's when it starts to make sense. So yeah, that is, if you will, the method to this bike's utter madness. Let's start this sucker up and go for a ride. 4 cylinders jumping into action. Each time I get on this thing, I have to remember to put my feet on the forward controls. It's a bit unnatural for me, but definitely a right fit for this bike, because it gives you a really commanding seating position with the wide bars, feet forward. It's very cool. Right, always make those turns a little bit gingerly because this is not my bike and it's a very expensive bike. I want to keep the expensive bike in one piece. Fellow motorcyclists. Yeah, it's quite a relaxed ride. It's an interesting contrast because the ride is very relaxed, but the speeds this thing can achieve are definitely not relaxed, anything but relaxed. So it urges you to kind of pile on the speed while you're in a really laid back seating position. It's an interesting experience. Let's take this corner slowly because I'm a bit wider than usual. Yeah, the Ducati QuickShifter, the first time I tried it was on the V2. I tried like last week or the week before that, and really took me by surprise how efficient, how easy it is to use. And it sounds almost kind of like a video game. It's the way it cuts the ignition. It does it with such smoothness and efficiency, and a really cool, like, video gamey sound. We're still in touring mode. Not sure why you'd ever want to go in sports mode, because the whole thing is just nuts anyway. Yeah, so as I was saying, before having ever ridden this bike, which was last week I had never had a go on a power cruiser before, even not Yamaha's classic VMAX, never tried that either. So this is the first time I'm ever on one of these. It's a bit of an eye-opener because I'd never considered trying one previously, but if someone offers you the chance to ride one of these beasts, of course you're going to say yes. So, a bit of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, really. It's like the Ducati Veyron equivalent, but then in a motorcycle form. I suppose it's about as fast as one too. There's actually a lot to be said for this kind of bike. You don't have to use the available power all the time. You can just, if you manage to restrain yourself, you can also take it easy on this motorcycle. And it is pretty civilized in the lower RPM ranges. Though I admit it is a bit happier once you go a bit higher. I keep wondering how Ducati is getting these bikes through the noise emissions checks, which are no doubt getting increasingly strict as the years go by. But this thing, like the V2 I rode last time, it's just sounds gnarly, just really angry with the stock exhaust. Makes one wonder, how do they do that? And again, I forget to bring my sunglasses. Do you remember what I said about Wipeout? Like the PlayStation 1 video game released in 96, 97, like the early Psygnosis masterpiece. See that road as a half pipe, like we roll like that, and then we roll like this. That's what this bike wants to do. It wants to roll through the corner as if it's a half pipe. If you do that on this bike, you're golden, and you're gonna have a great time. Let's go this way. Yeah, it is not a BMW. It does not want to accelerate in the fourth gear when you're down that low. So, having ridden this bike, it does make me wonder what the regular Diavel is like, because I think it's regular Diavel or Diavel that has the controls, the foot controls in the normal positions, like as if you're on a naked bike, and this one has them forward. But having been on this one, and with how wide the rear tire is, and having learned how this bike wants to be ridden, like as if you're in Wipeout, I think these forward controls are a lot better suited for this bike. You want to be in the relaxed position, kind of laid back, acting as if you're okay, you're cool with all of this. When, of course, your nerves are being as rattled as anyone else's when you open up the taps on this bike a little bit. Because that's another thing that's funny about this bike. It has these two little dials here, one percentage for power and one for torque. And I don't know, you have to be some kind of Superman to be able to even glance down at this when either of those numbers read 100%. Because the power on this thing is just mental. If I am jamming up through these gears, even if I'm short shifting it like a grandma, I can't. My brain is too slow to handle what's happening. It is just crazy fast. I suppose a better man would be able to ride this and not do that with every opportunity, but I'm not a better man. I'm a very bad man, and I do want to see what this thing can do, preferably at every stoplight where I'm near the front. I'm going to bring this camera a little bit closer, but makes people a bit nervous, I think. Right, let's do it like that for a bit. Right, there are two reasons I think why you'd buy this motorcycle. Reason number one has to be the engine. It's the engine. It's this V4 Gran Turismo engine with the 170 or 180 horsepower. Ridiculous to put in a motorcycle. I mean, who came up with the idea that a motorcycle needs that much power? But that, of course, is not what this thing is about. This thing is about excess and indulging yourself in something that is definitely not necessary, but a lot of fun all the same. So the excess, I mean, that's definitely too hot for TV. Yeah, all that stuff I just said, it doesn't even begin to describe how fast this thing is. So excess, I'm a bit at a loss for words here. I don't know how to describe this thing. Opulence, overkill. Let's squeeze to the front here. We can get away with that, I think. Let's do that. Yeah, what was I saying? Overkill. Overkill, showing off, sex appeal. That's the second reason. This is a bike that makes a statement like almost no other bike does, I think. And of course, if the point is to make a statement, then you can't fit it with the normal two-cylinder with just a meager 100 horsepower. That's not enough for a bike like this. Like, you don't need to use all the power that is available here, but it kind of needs to have it to support the statement that is being made here. So the conditions for when you buy a bike like this, I think, well, that you can afford it because it's not inexpensive, and that it is probably the second or third bike that fits the purpose of making a statement. You're probably not going to ride this down to the south of France, so you could. I think I'm pretty comfortable on it, though you'd have to make do with just a backpack for luggage. Maybe have your servants bring the rest of your stuff as you travel from hotel to hotel. Don't buy this as your first bike. Buy this as your second bike, or your third. Have the first one be something semi-sensible, and this one for when you want to go a little crazy. That is what the Diavel is about, as I will illustrate when I shift down like that and just go. It really screams like a MotoGP bike, which I suppose this kind of is. It's like a MotoGP bike in a cruiser jacket. Yeah, I think that the straight line speed, the only way to think of this is as like a kind of a personal teleportation device. It doesn't like travel at a certain speed. It just, at one moment you're in this spot, and then blink your eyes and you're in an entirely different spot. It is that fast. I suppose it's a good thing that the brakes on this are equally monstrous, because you want to shed speed on this thing quickly to keep out of trouble. But thankfully they're up to that task just fine. And I think one extra reason to buy something like this. It feels good, you know. The way I'm seated on this thing, the way it's like a sculpture that moves with frightening speed. It does also kind of make you feel good about yourself a little bit, you know, and that's also what this bike's about. It's something you treat yourself with. When you walk into that Startwin showroom, you look at it and you say to Jan, yes, Jan, I think I will have one of these. And then you'd get to take it home, park it in your garage and just look at it every day. Gaze at it and wonder, how did I get to be so fortunate to own one of these? A 2025 Ducati XDiavel. Oh yes, remember what I said. Think wipeout. Think wipeout. Just like that. Like as if you're in a half pipe. Smooth flowing lines. And then a fistful of that on the way out, and you're off into the sunset. That's what the Diavel is. Precisely that. First you're here, now you're there. Oh, I remember Dirk, my friend, he bought some Red Bull and it's still in the fridge, if I remember correctly. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy that. But what is the point of a bike like this? What is the reason for its existence? Well, I think, despite the fact that it still handles much better than you would expect, it is to make a statement. And that statement is supported by the huge engine, the way it looks, the muscular tank, the exclusive color it has, the enormous centerpiece of a rear wheel, and the statement is really not to put too fine a point on it. The statement is F you, I'm on a Diavel, who the f are you? That's essentially what it's saying. Maybe not in so many words, but the subtext is there. And that's really, when you think about it, it's a beautiful thing. Sometimes you want a bike that kind of says that on some days. Yeah, if you have a need for a bike for which there is no logical justification, and if you're in the Netherlands, go down to Startwin. I'm sure they'll let you have a go on the machine. Be careful though, because it can be a handful. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. Leave a comment, I like those the most. Subscribe if you want to see what I'm doing for the next one. It might be a Ducati again, though fear not. I do actually love all bikes equally, and for the one after, I'm definitely going to find something that isn't red or Italian. And if you have any suggestions, just leave them in the comments and I'll see what I can do. All right, that's it for now. Thanks guys, see you later.